Now, looking through the Telegraph the other day, there was an action shot of a hovercraft race. Small, not the ones that used to take you to France all those years ago, but small individual racing hovercraft, and a great action shot. And I thought, I know nothing about this sport. Nothing at all.
Me neither.
So we thought we would remedy that. So Hannah Deacon, who thankfully does know all about it, who races the hovercraft, has joined us in the studio. Hannah, good to see you.
Hello, hi, yes. Thanks for inviting me in.
So that was the first race of your domestic season, wasn't it?
Yes,
I saw the pictures
the National Hovercraft Championships, which
right.
We run, the Hover Club, Great Britain. We run it. There's several formulas. The one that was in the Telegraph was the F2 race, which is one of our kind of main kind of amazing formulas for spectators to watch, sort of incredible. You see the jump out the water. So it's normally we don't have any purpose-built racetracks. It's normally just anyone that has a spare field and a bit of water, and we create our own courses, and we do sort of 8 laps around that, and then you jump off into the water and you jump out again the other side. So it's great fun, and you're all going around at the same time in your formula. It's not like time trials. So it's kind
a proper race.
Yeah, so it's a race, off the grid. You all try and get into that first corner, and it's like sort of bumper cars in a way, because you're sort of drifting as you turn.
We should give the listeners an idea of scale. So how big are the hovercraft? How do they work?
So they're about the size of a car, a small car.
Yeah.
Mine is actually a bit smaller because it's the kind of new technology is to have sort of the smaller, lighter hovercraft that are faster.
Right.
But essentially, in my formula, I just have one engine and one fan, and the air is split between thrust and lift.
Right.
So I have a plate where I can drop that, so I can create more thrust if I want to pull out of a corner, or if I'm hitting the water, I want more lift, for example. But then the faster formulas, they got 2 engines and 2 fans.
Right. And what are the sort of top speeds you can get?
So in mine, I can get sort of 55 miles an hour on a straight. The F1 and F2, they get to about 80 miles an hour on a straight.
Is it dangerous?
It can be dangerous, like any motorsport. There are no brakes, so to stop, you basically have to let go of the throttle, which usually means if you stop quick, then you kind of you kind of carry on, and the craft stops, and you just sort of fly out. But we wear like full body armor, a bit like motocross wear. We wear a motorbike helmet. We wear a life jacket because obviously there's the water element of it too. So we are sort of all kitted out, and we have a lanyard which kills the engine. So if you fall out,
right,
like a jet ski,
like a jet ski,
like a jet ski, it should kill the engine. But obviously then the thing kind of sometimes I've run over myself, for example.
Oh dear. You've got to be doing that. So how did you get into it?
So it's how my parents met.
Right.
They started racing sort of teenagers, early 20s, and then I was born into it, so didn't get a choice. I had to love it. So every summer, most weekends, we're racing. So
where can you see it if people want to, if they're intrigued by this and think, I quite fancy watching that?
So our next meeting, which is the National Hovercraft Championships, will be at Whittlebury Hall, which is next to Silverstone. So it's at the Jubilee Bank Holiday weekend. We're there. Which is going to be a great event. It's a great venue. Obviously, like the heart of motorsport, Silverstone. So we're really excited for that.
Does it have TV? Sorry, Paul. Does it have TV coverage?
Not really. We have a sort of online stream that people can watch as well. But that's all through our website, hovercraft.org.uk.
Okay.
So, but the best bit is to come and watch. You can then, in the sort of between races, public can come into the paddock and meet the drivers. That's all part of what you get when you arrive. So, and we're hoping to have some kind of refreshments and things like that as well when you're there. So. And
what about if somebody wanted to compete, think of interest, I'd like to find out more. How do you get involved? How do you start? And is it an expensive sport to be involved in?
Yeah, I mean, any motorsport is expensive, but we like to think of it as a cheap motorsport. So your kind of entry-level hovercraft you could buy for £2,000. You could obviously get a second-hand one, maybe a bit cheaper, but essentially we sort of around £2,000. You can also, we have a scheme where you can rent a hovercraft. If you get in touch with the club, we can help you out because it's a lot of money to spend in case you don't like it.
No, sure.
So you can come, you can try it.
Yeah,
yeah exactly.
Is there a kind of Lewis Hamilton of hover racing? Somebody that all the other drivers look at and say, oh, he or she is
who's the best in the world?
Yeah, so we'll get to see them. Hopefully some of them will be at the European event at Whistlebury Hall in Silverstone, but at the Worlds this year, you've got people like Michael Metzner, who's from Germany. He is F1 and F2 world champion currently, so he races in both.
Wow.
And Michele Scanavino's Italian, so he's kind of, and he's always had a huge fan base to sort of come along. But the UK makes up the biggest amount of drivers. We normally win sort of 7 out of 8 categories. So yeah, there's plenty, and hopefully I'll be world champion this year.
Where are you in the rankings then?
So I was 6th at the last World Championships.
Oh, that's pretty good. Wow.
Which is not bad.
Yeah.
And that was out of about just under 30 hovercraft. And then those grid positions will be used in this World Championship, so it gives me a good shot. I'll either be front row or second row, so on the grid.
Great.
So.
Jeremy Clarkson's a fan, by the way.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, he
Has he tried it?
He must have done. He said it's the most fun you can have with an engine, I think he said.
Yes, yeah, that's his famous quote that we use.
It's a pretty good advert, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean they use it in Top Gear. He also did that. That was that one where they went to Russia and they drove the hovercraft down the river there. And my friend was actually doing the proper driving because Jeremy was useless.
Now I know you get a bus.
Give away all the secrets.
I know you get a bus pass these days but otherwise you could commute down the river, couldn't you? You could commute a couple of grand, Andy. You on the Thames from home.
It'd be brilliant.
That'd be great. Yeah, but Andy is a terrible driver, and with respect, with no respect, you are, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
Yeah. So the idea
I'd be better on water.
Yeah. You think so?
Less obstacles.
It's quite a busy river. The idea of you just mooring up under the studios would be fantastic.
Well, yeah, I mean, we also have cruising craft. That's part of the club as well. So if you don't want to do the racing, you can buy like a recreational one that you can take on beaches, rivers, mud flats. So there's a whole part of the club that do that, which is growing. So that's really great as well. If you don't want to fully commit to sort of like competing at national level, in racing. So
I'd like to see you competing at national level.
I'd love to compete at national level. I'm a bit
knocking
older.
Hannah out of the rankings. You're suddenly number 5, and it'd be fantastic. It'd be a winner. So thank you, Hannah. Thanks very much for coming in. Appreciate it. Just remind us of the website where people can find out more.
So it's hovercraft.org.uk.
Yeah.
And if you type in social media hovercraft, you should see all of our accounts come up, which is the official HCGB. So that's where you'll find us.
Right, best of luck in the World Championships and beyond. Thank you for joining us. There's Hannah Deacon there, introducing us to the world of hovercraft. You're hooked, aren't you, Andy? I can see that. He's off.
You've made it sound tempting.
He's very easily influenced, Andy. He'll have a hovercraft by this time tomorrow.